Good evening. Welcome to Injustice Investigations. I'm your host, Al Scott. As always, we appreciate you all tuning in to our live broadcast. 7 p.m. every night except Monday on YouTube. Miss Lewis, good evening to you and welcome. Love you big time. Thanks for your genuine support of the show and what we do. We have a lot to discuss tonight. Before we go there, I'm going to give a shout out to Spit and Fire, The Block Bender, and Spice Topics. These are all of my YouTube friends. If they didn't call, they sent an email, they sent a text, but they all called to check on us and see where we're okay. And that means a lot to us. I love you guys big time, and I appreciate your support, and I really appreciate your genuine spirit when it comes to me. Love you big time. Spitting Fire's in the house tonight. Hopefully, sometime throughout tonight, we may get her to call in and weigh in on some of the things that we're talking about this evening. Miss Langley, good evening to you. Dana, good evening to you. A little Miss Faye is in the house. Okay, the Charlie girl. Hey, welcome. Tonight, before we get started, I have invited a good friend of mine. I first came across the brother when we were doing the Malea Davis case in Houston, Texas. And he is no stranger to the show. He's been on our show several times. And when he can't come on, sometimes he's going to call in. And I value his opinion. So I have invited Brother Emmanuel Thomas to share the stage with me tonight. And shortly, I'm going to bring him on. People get upset when people like me and others raise our right hand and say the time to defund the police is now. One thing they're going to tell us is that we need the police to protect us. White people need the police to protect them. Police in the United States do not protect blacks, hands down, without doubt. They don't. If you don't want us to call for defunding the police, I wish you would put something better on the table opposed to defunding the police. Every time we want to see them in a different light, every time we want to see them in a good light, bam, they show up and they show out. And there's always an inexcusable excuse for the things that they do. Once they've administered pain or death to us, they jokes about it, laugh. It gets caught on their body cam. And a lot of times they go through hell to make sure that you and I, the public, don't hear what those officers are saying. Breonna Taylor, look down, she's done. That means she's dead. We killed her. Let's go on. Last year, a black woman, social worker, just got home from work. Police officer stormed into her apartment. And I'm told she yelled at least 43 times, "You got the wrong apartment." We're going to discuss that tonight with Brother Emmanuel. We're also going to discuss the abandonment of a 2-year-old boy in Mississippi. Okay, I was about to bring Brother Emmanuel on. He dropped. Signal's bad, I guess. Hopefully he'll pop back up. I want to get his opinion on a lot of things that we're discussing tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the lines tonight. The number for you all to call is not up on the screen, is it? Okay, let me get it for you. Let me get it. Okay, there we go. Okay. My brother. I can't, wait a minute. I'm not getting any sound from you. Hold up. Let me see what's going on.
You hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Barely, but yes, I can.
Hold on. Let me see if I can turn it up a little.
Okay.
Use this microphone. Is that better?
Somewhat, but I think it'll do. If it get worse, I'll let you know. Um, uh, Charlie, we're
Yeah.
gonna make that announcement tonight about the little boy in Mississippi. Okay, brother Emmanuel, you can still hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Brother, I'm glad to have you back on the show. You know, I value your opinion. I know you've
Thank
been
you.
out there in the battlefield for a long time. You're one of the few brothers that will come on and not give us sugar coated shit cookies. Tell us just like it is. And so I'm glad you accepted the invite. Good evening, Miss Ferris. I love you big time. And hopefully, when I spoke with Brother Emmanuel today, I'm trying to get him to ride with me for at least a week or two on our shows on YouTube. So hopefully, uh, his schedule will permit him to come on more than once or twice this week and next week. Brother Emmanuel, we have a lot to discuss, brother.
Yes.
But what I
Yes.
want to do before we get into our subjects tonight, for those of you for those who may not know you and what you do for a living, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to go ahead and let the people know who you are and how you and I came about again.
Can y'all hear me very well?
Barely, but it'll do.
Okay. Okay. Again, thank you, Brother Alfonso. My name is Brother Emmanuel. I'm gonna try to scream, y'all. I hope you can hear me. I'm live out here. We do our little patrols every night, canvassing the community to make sure everything is straight, in the spots that we are in. And we have other brothers and sisters in their neighborhoods that do the same. And we check in with each other, and just kind of keep a system going so we can know what's happening on one side and the other side. We do this on a international basis. We touch every city, every state that needs help, and we make up our own community of information, making sure that we check everything, making sure that everything is secure, and making sure that we get our story straight because, as you know, a lot of times these media outlets trying to get these, hold on a second, trying to get these likes and these promotions, they don't give us the truth. They have tell us everything, and so a lot
Exactly.
of times we're just left with the information that's entertaining to get them the ratings, and we don't know what really goes on. So the way me and Brother Alfonso came into each other's paths is during the Malea Davis situation. If most of the people that ride with Brother Alfonso in the investigations, in justice investigations, y'all know that the brother covered the story of Malea Bass down here. I mean, Malea Davis down here in Houston, Texas on last year. And it garnished worldwide attention because the baby was told to us to be abducted by three Hispanic men out here in the Greens Point area of Houston, Texas. And the way the story was given to everybody, and because I'm out here in the Greens Point area, this is my actual location, my actual headquarters. And so when it came to us, we were kind of, just kind of threw off because that's not the normal behavior, especially at that time, and especially with the things that we do. We have a lot of Hispanic brothers and sisters down here that work with us. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm. Hmm.
for those things to happen, I'm not saying that they don't happen, but at the time, all the work we were doing, it was very uncommon for that to just take place the manner in which he was telling us it happened. And so we immediately got involved in it, and we found out it was BS from the beginning. But again, I'm not one of those groups who, like you were saying yesterday and today, that mislead you. And so, I don't have a lot of these people that support what we do. And we not the tap dancers. So they're not going to try to fund us. We normally have to fund ourselves. I mean, always we have to fund ourselves to do the things that the community needs, but we get it done. Just like with that situation, if y'all followed it on the first night of the searches, I was on Isaiah Factor. That's a show down here in Houston on Fox 26. And I was on there with Tim Miller from EquiSearch, who was heading. He's the founder and organizer of the group EquiSearch, who helped out in recovering her body and helped out in recovering a lot of bodies. We worked together, and so on that day we were out there on the ground, and he asked me to come on with him to the show, and we did that show that night with Crime Stoppers Andy Khan. I was the brother in the middle in my Black Panther uniform. As I tell people, I look a lot different in uniform than you'll notice me in the regular day to day. But that night we were all out there actually searching at the time that we stopped to go on to the show, and we were hoping we could get more of the public, more of the people's participation in helping the search for our baby. We were trying to find her alive, but we knew that it wasn't a good chance of it. But anyway, we did that, and then they asked me to come on again later on at the end of the week because we had been running our own searches from the north to the south, man, and we covered all over this place. A lot of people, they sent me information. I had, hundreds of thousands of views on my page at that time because the story was so important. And so, we used that to hit the corners and the cracks that we couldn't get to. Man, we searched the bayous by helicopter. We did everything we could just to find out that the baby had been taken to Arkansas and dropped off right across the border. But if the people were following, you'll go back to that first night I was on Isaiah Care, the first night of the search. I was telling everybody, man, we're wasting our time doing all these searches when we know who knows who did that to that baby and who knew where that baby was, Darian Bent. And, I asked them then, tell us what's up, man. Just tell us where this baby is at, man. And so we don't have to waste all these resources and all this time, and all the craziness that goes on. But he didn't do it at the time, and then as everybody know, Big Head Cornell X came on in at the end and threw everybody out line as if he went in and got a confession. And as I told many people, you're gonna have to find out about him. You'll find out about him on at a later time. I don't want to give him none of the stage, but he could have did that if he really did that. He could have did that as soon as it first happened. And if y'all know how her body was found, it was found in the
condition that it's in because it took so long to finally find out where she was at. But he lied to everybody and told them that he found them. But we know that a report had already come in a day before Pighead did his down here, and they had found the baby because it was on the cutting cycle for the city, the state's cutting cycle of those fields. That was state property. And so they were out there cutting the grass, and the workers actually found that baby out there after they had, and so many of the people down here in Houston hadn't got that news yet. And, he played it, and they went out there, got a chartered plane. They went out there and they brought the baby's body home, and if you see the timeline, he had told everyone that he got a confession from Darian at 2-3 in the afternoon, and about 10 o'clock they had released the body and had her back in Houston. That does not happen. That's legally impossible.
Exactly. Brother Emmanuel, I don't know where you're at right now, but if you will hold that spot, because you're coming in very clear, if you can. And I think we all knew from the beginning that a lot of things it was telling us were not, did not make any earthly sense. Next week, I think I'm trying to put something together for Malea. It's a little Christmas thing we're gonna put together for Malea, and we'll tell you more about that one day next week. Emmanuel, listen, you've been in this game for a long time. You've spoken with people that you knew was telling the truth, and I'm sure you spoke with some you knew was telling you a lie. Whether you let them knew that or not, your wisdom told you that they shucking and jiving. When it comes to our police departments in the United States, I'm for defunding the police. My opinion. We laid every option on the table that we can lay for them to avoid this. But what continues to happen is the same thing that was happening in 1946. We cannot forget about the past when the past keeps becoming the present. And when the police officers get it wrong, they don't like to admit it, and they try everything they can not to let the media get a hold of a tape or some information. We saw this with Breonna Taylor, and we see it every day. We just recently saw it with a Black woman who's a social worker. She was Chicago inside of her apartment. She's naked. She's being mistreated. She's standing there just naked. Finally, someone put something over, but it was still too small. But she's still standing there. She's in handcuffs and she's crying. And she yelled at least, I think it was 48 times, that you have the wrong house. Now, this is the same thing with Breonna Taylor. All we're doing is adjusting. When they killed Michael Brown, we had to adjust. Every time something comes up with the police and us, we have to adjust. They do no changing. We're going to look into this. We got to do better. I know you have to do better. I know that. Our people don't need to be taught how to interact with the police. The police need to be taught how to interact with us. This is an educated Black woman, humiliated in her home. In her home, she's handcuffed. The individual that they were looking for was easy to find, like 1, 2, 3, because he was next door with an anchor monitor on. You got to GPS, pull the brother up. It's just as simple as that. And we lie, the mayor. I just found out about this last week. Bull, you found out right after it happened. Now the people have faith in you and they believe in her. She's been doing good. But when you come out and you tell one lie, to me, it makes me question everything else that comes out of your mouth. So your opinion on defunding the police and what's going on now? Did we, Emmanuel? Always get these folks to drink before they come on. Emmanuel. I'm just going to answer my damn question. Defund the police. They have left us with no other option but to say defund the police. As long as we continue to accept the life that they continue to try and get us to live in, it's going to happen. It's as simple as that. If you're still marching, as they did back in the day, then that might be a clue. You need to stop doing that. And I keep saying, emotions don't change laws. Conversation change laws. But we have been adjusting entirely too much when we have been wronged. And we don't like to admit it. This woman's humiliated. She's naked. She's screaming. I'm a social worker. And they degrade her. And then they come and have the audacity to say, we believe your story. No, it's not a story. She's not telling you a damn story. She's giving you the gospel, the truth. You're at the wrong house. How do you not know where he's at? He's got a monitor on him. And you didn't think to pull it up and see his exact location before you kicked that woman's door in. We lost him. Maybe he had to go catch a red-eye flight or something. I don't know. He'll be back, hopefully. If not, we have to go on. Life is short. Technical issues. He's probably going to pop back up. I pray, because he has some different perspective on what's going on. I want you all to hear what he has to say. Again, the woman was naked inside of her home, and they didn't care. So when you get the mayor to come before the mics and says she just learned of this last week, that's another problem. Because if we caught her in this lie, how many times has the mayor came to the mics, to the cameras, and told you a lie that you believed? How many times? She's only finally admitting to this because she was busted. Oh, yeah, I remember. We adjusted to 7 bullets being pumped into a black man's back who was unarmed. We adjusted. George Floyd, we adjusted. We did. And the cycle kept repeating itself. Police department has to be defunded. And that money needs to go into our neighborhoods to help educate our people. I'm not talking about a center where they're going to throw a damn ball and shoot pool all day. I'm talking about educating the mind. We have to do that. We have to get to the point in this country to when a police officer is at the center of an investigation, especially a criminal investigation, he or she must be placed on administrative leave. You notice I didn't say paid. I don't need them collecting a check while they're not doing anything. The minute a cop becomes the center of an investigation, I don't want to wait a week for you to give me his name. I want his name right then and there. And I don't need the public doing a background check on the ones that was wounded or killed. Do a background check on some of the damn cops. You may not believe this, but throughout this United States, you have men and women on the police force that are convicted felons, yet they carry a badge and a gun. Things they don't want you to know. That's another story I'm going to bring to you real soon, be it the Lord willing. If you lose this case, you lose your pension, everything. It goes to that family that you interrupted. We do not expect for the police to become the criminals we have hired them to chase. But when that happens, if I would get, as a regular citizen, 10 years for killing someone, if a police officer does it, and it's not justifiable, because just because they put justifiable in the front of homicide, that don't mean it's telling the truth. If I'm gonna get 10 years for it, you being a police officer, your punishment must double that of mine. Why? Because you're a cop. I expect better. You know the law. You know the consequences. No police officer should ever be given a bail. Why? They're a police officer. We don't expect for you to do the shenanigans that you continue to do. But when you do them, then it's all new, baby. The game has been flipped. You will go to jail and you will be held without bond until your hearing. If you lose, well, you know what happens. If you win, come on out. Come on out. But you got to have some kind of consequences that will make a police officer think twice before kicking a door in, pulling out a taser, or shooting an unarmed black person in the United States just because they woke up black. Tammy, always 100, never fake, says collecting a check while a family is planning a service. She just preached. That's it. That's it. She just preached. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. If we continue to do nothing, if we continue to address this with old methods, then just like the police must bite that bullet, we too have to bite that bullet because we're smart enough to know that ain't working no more. That's not working. They're taking you for a joke. And then they want to play cover up. After they leave out of her apartment, they cut the mic off. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? What is it that you two are going to say that you didn't want on the mic? That's guilt. That's guilt. Okay, I think we found our good friend. Hey, brother.
Hey, brother. I'm sorry about that. I had to change up the whole scenario, man.
Okay, look, that's fine. That's fine. We are glad you're back. Incidentally, I know you can't see the comments right now, but you will once this ends. You have a lot of people saying hello to you, and they appreciate the work that you're doing. I was going to tell you that right before we lost signal there and stuff. So I know you're great, and I know you're genuine with what you're doing, and I applaud you for it. And I just pray you continue to do it because we don't have a lot of brothers like you that still left out there that has been awakened and are now trying to awake our people. But before you left, we talked about the incident in Chicago with the police officers bursting in on the social worker. What is your take on that, brother?
Well, you were talking about the Chicago situation or the Mississippi situation?
Chicago with the social worker that they burst into her home and it was the wrong apartment.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, again, I've told a lot of people before that a lot of these situations come down to policies and procedures from the different departments. That's their tactical ways to allow the things that they played in the past, like they were getting rid of, when they had this North and the South war, the Union versus the Confederacy, and so-called the Union won, and the Confederacy had to be stomped out. Well, what they did is they made the Union the federal government and the Confederacy the states. And so each state has individual laws that run by their state. And then each city in each state has different laws that run by their city, and then the counties. So it's just a bunch of fine print that gets all the way back to how they had it before in the South, where each state ran it the way they wanted to run it. And that's what was the reason that they had to have a war in the first place, is because, everybody wanted to be united, but nobody wanted to follow a united plan of rules and regulated laws, and enforced laws. So if you tell us that the federal government, the America is saying we're getting rid of slavery, but then you got Texas, this is just an example, then you have Texas that says, well, we're going to keep ours in slavery. That's what happened in the beginning, and that's why it took to what we are educated now as 1865 for us to finally get the Emancipation Proclamation enforced in Texas. A lot of people don't know the history. That Emancipation Proclamation had already been declared 2 years prior. A lot of people don't know in history in 1621, which is 40 years prior to 1821, which was 40 years prior to 1865, Washington, D.C. had already had their Emancipation Proclamation signed and had been enforced and had been working. So it took almost 40 years for all of that enforcement to trickle down all the way to the lowest state in the southern region, which is Texas, in the lowest southern city, which is Galveston, and those troops made it, those federal troops. But what had happened over those 40 years is a bunch of conflict. One state saying we're not going to do it. Another state saying we'll do it. Cities in that state that say that they'll do it saying, well, we're not going to do it. And you saw that with people like Bull Connor and the people that were standing in front of Mississippi State when the brothers and sisters were to be integrated and to go to that college, and how their mayors and their governors were saying, I ain't gonna let it happen. I don't give a fuck what. And you saw how JFK and all them had to send the federal government down there. It all goes down to people are following what their departments and what they want to follow. And so we have a lot of people that's mad about what happened, but what they do is in their department, they say, well, the person followed proper policies and procedures, and so that they did nothing criminally wrong. That's a way to let their people off because they're following their system. And that system not for us because when they take a small situation that's not deadly, you're supposed to do a welfare check. You're supposed to be coming over there concerned about the life. And then we lose our lives in these situations, or we lose our freedoms. You know, we don't have nobody to complain to because it's set up in fine print like that to work for those different cities, man. So in Chicago,
something you just said really stood out to me is that policies and procedures. First, just because it's legal, don't make it right.
Right.
If we keep saying, Brother Emmanuel, that they followed proper protocol, proper procedure, well, we have a problem. I need to see it because we need to redo this if this is okay for you all to do this, because you have drafted up a law that protects you by any means necessary. And so that needs to be challenged.
That's exactly what needs to be challenged. Yeah, in every city. In every state, because it's different ones. You go across the state line to Louisiana, and they have completely different policies and procedures on how they handle traffic stops, how they handle signing of documents to allow them to come into our residences unannounced, you know, against our will. You know, one city and one state says that their policies and procedures are that they don't do no knock, and that they have to do the warrants at a certain time during the day around citizens for the people to be able to see what's happening. But then you go across the street to another city and their policies and procedures say, no, we don't have to do that. And so what we're doing is a lot of us get caught up because we're looking for one universal rule. And so we say, oh man, you ain't supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to do that. Not knowing that their policies and their procedures protect them from any kind of prosecution. And so we're left because a lot of us are not educated properly as to all of the different laws. We it's sad, but we all try to go under one law, that Constitution. That's so sad because the Constitution it's full of tricks, and unless you know the whole thing, then you will not understand why these different cities and states are doing this, and they're not prosecuting the people. Now they get us in the streets to come out and we yell, we get some athletes, you know, it becomes a part of the social media. Man, we scream the people's name. We have all these great demonstrations of love for the people. But number one, the person who lost their life can't come back. So there is no rectifying the situation. Number two, they try to give us the money in so many situations just to calm you down and make you stop fighting. And then number three, they already know that add a little time into any situation and the people won't be as enraged anymore, and then it gets quietly swept under the rug. It gets quietly pushed out the back door with the money.
Let me ask you this, Brother Emmanuel. When Breonna Taylor's family took, it was $12 million, right? Do you think they should have taken that, or would you have taken it?
Well, that's what they use against us, man. They know that money basically quiets you, because when you accept that settlement, there's a lot of fine print in what you can and what you can't do. And what a lot of people don't realize is when you accept that money, you are basically telling the city or the state responsible that they're not responsible anymore. And so when it comes down to it, they're not trying to put nobody in jail for it. You've
That's it.
accepted the
That's
money.
it. That's
And
it.
it's bad, but it's true. And they know in this situation that we're in this condition that we're in over here, a lot of people will feel like we felt with this presidential election, accepting the lesser of the two evils. It's like, damn, my family member gone, and if I don't accept this money, I get nothing. I just get a gone family. They know they're preying on people, and they don't matter the color. When they mess up, they'll give you those little pieces of paper, and they know that will suffice your anger. And then they know that will also protect them. And there's certain things that they don't have to do to their officers that were involved, because that settlement actually covers the officer or the person involved also. It takes liability from them.
Exactly. So, when they took the $12 million, my first thought is that what they did, they just said, nobody needs to be prosecuted for Breonna Taylor's death. We've got the $12 million. If you had waited until he got prosecuted, right, then maybe, but when you took that, it goes back to what you just said. You're just telling us we're fine. We're even. We're not going to give you $12 million and then put a white man in prison for that nigga.
Thank you. A cop. And see, that's the thing. That's another thing. They already scared to make other cops feel like, well, if you do mess up, we'll just throw you out to the people. Then that inadvertently makes other people that want to be cops not want to be cops, because then they feel like, well, damn, ain't no loyalty in that if they're going to leave us hanging. So in a way, that payment to us, that's the way to get us to quiet down. That's the way to get people to say, well, what else do you want? Damn, you want the person to just go to jail forever? I mean, what do you want? Do you want us to hang that person, do them like that? Yeah, and that's the vengeful spirit every person has when they are dealing with loss. Yeah, exactly. The natural, and any human is going to want that. Right.
But when we take the money, we're saying that's how much my child was worth.
My child is worth
$12 million. That's all he was worth. That's an insult. And I knew
when I was talking to the lawyers about my son, and everybody will know my son's case, it was very amazing about how he broke down how he wanted to go after the people responsible for my son's death. The apartment complex where my son was murdered at, he wanted to bring a wrongful death lawsuit up against them. And what he was telling me is how they bring up these lawsuits is based off of each individual's possible life earnings.
Let's say
if your child was a teenager and they were headed to college or something, going to go to the NFL or something, and they were murdered by, let's say, police or something. Well, how they will assess that person's value is what that person was doing. If the person was headed to college, then they can say, well, yeah, that person would have made a lot of money. If they were headed to they would have made a lot of money, and you took away the possibility of them doing that and sharing it with the family. So we'll give the family, or we'll assess their life value as millions. But if the person was doing something bad, what the world labels as bad, they were in a situation where there's any controversy or any possible way that they caused their own deaths, responsible for their own deaths, brought it on themselves, then the value goes down lower. And then we already know who we are as a people in this country, how the country has defined us to define ourselves, make us look at each other bad, make other people look at each other bad. They already don't have a high value in our lives. So, they want to find some kind of reason to say it was our fault and quiet it down. And they know after a while, we'll stop yelling about it.
Look, that's real. There, oftentimes I tell people, some get offended, some don't. I could care either way. We try to appeal to someone the way we think they want to see us. And when we're doing that, then we begin to lose who we really are. It's like, if he If his pants sagging, then he never a damn thug. If a skirt's too short, that's just a young hoe. That's it. But regardless to what they're doing and what they're not doing or who you think they are, they're still somebody's child. And you may not give a damn about them, but somebody somewhere loved that child that you just executed because you have the ability to do so. So we'll be forever changing as far as wardrobe is concerned, our hairstyles. I hear people say, he got good hair. But if we talk about a black brother,
Snappy.
That's bad hair.
You got some bad hair.
No, that's us. That's not bad hair. But that's the way we were taught.
Right.
And your hair is not acceptable because it's nappy. It needs to be combed. That's just nasty, trifling hair. It's no good. But, and I mean this with all due respect, ladies, I don't mind. If y'all want to wear a wig, then that's fine. That's cool. But don't overdo the shit. Don't overdo it. If you jet black, don't come out of Dollar Mania with a blonde wig. Don't do that to yourself because you're embarrassing yourself. You know you did not come out of your mother's womb with that blonde hair and stuff. You got to find out who you are and accept who you are. And stop letting people dictate who they think you should be. This is a case that will happen again and again and again and again because, Brother Emmanuel, we are not addressing it the way we need to address it. And we need more people on board like you and others that stand up and say, this is not right. This is not right. I mean, and if it's not right, I'm coming to get it right. We don't come and land in your city to make trouble. When we come because trouble is already
made. Right.
And that's why we come. But Black people, we got to do better. We must do better. And on a different note, quoting Mike Epps when he said, I think it was George Floyd, one directly at George Floyd, but he was just saying, Black people, we also must not do this. Put ourselves in certain predicaments to be attacked by the powers that be. Because when we do that, they're going to treat us bad. They're going to dog us out. They're going to throw us away. And you know how many Michael Browns that are in the ground that you and I didn't get a chance to do their story because nobody gave a damn. They died. They put them in there.
You got to remember, we are sheep. And the sheep is always at prey to the wolf. A sheep is at prey to every other animal on the planet because a sheep by nature does not go and attack. It's not a predator. It naturally eats its grass. It naturally hangs amongst its own, drinks its water, and follows its shepherd, stays in a place, a contained place, out of the way of everybody. The contained place of fence so that the outside elements can't get in. Why? Because they know sheep being so precious, they're still defenseless. There's really nothing that they can do. So you have to have someone watching over them. We as people need to realize we are looked upon in every essence as sheep. Even those that are walking by that don't know they ever had a taste for sheep. When they walk by the sheep, that's when they realize, oh man, that's a lamb chop. Oh, that's some good meat. And it's symbolic of us as people. They know our situations that we're in that they make a lot of money off of. You always see at every major incident of police brutality or something where it's a controversial situation, you seem to see the same legal people happen to be there. And it's not by accident. It's because they know also that the whole world is paying attention to that situation at that time. And they're going to get everybody that's paying attention that is concerned, they're going to get them to call on them whenever something comes down. And then it always goes back to a financial situation. every one of those situations where you get all those people involved in, it's because there's going to be a settlement. There's going to be something kind of at the end that's that is a financial benefit for them.
You know
and
what?
So,
yeah, it's like
all jumped on in to act a fool, and they
Yeah.
get a piece of the settlement.
exactly. You know, it's kind of like an attorney when we're trying to figure out how much money we're going to pay for the damages that allegedly we may have caused. Without the plaintiff knowing, they go into their financial records. They look at where they live, what kind of automobiles they drive, if they have any. They look at what they make monthly and yearly, and they sit down. Oh, this South could be good with $1 million.
Right.
He'll think it's Christmas Day. Black people, a lot of us are too easy to please. When you become easy to please, naturally you become easy to be fooled at the same time.
Right.
For the sake of time, Brother Scott, Brother Emmanuel,
Yes,
let's
sir.
go ahead and get to our headliner for the night. I'm gonna say this: when God has blessed you, the woman, to conceive a child in her womb, that's something men can't do.
Come on now.
That's a blessing that He thought so much of you to touch you and bless you so that you can bring life into existence.
Right. Right.
But He don't want you to turn around and dog the gift,
Right.
beat the gift, kill the gift. If you're not ready, then you're not ready. It's just as simple as that. When we started this, we didn't have any intention on doing stories about children.
Mm-hmm.
Politics, crime, that was it.
Right.
But some kind of way, Brother Emmanuel, we got in it and we can't let it go. Now, when you take a little boy who's 2 years old, you take that little boy
Mm-hmm.
and you give him, this is the mother, you give him
Right.
to someone you don't know.
Right.
Now, I don't know how long, and we're going to get into it, her, and as she keeps saying, acquaintance, have known each other. Maybe they just met. I don't know. But I read something today, and I couldn't find it later, so don't quote me on it, but I'm almost positive it said that she had just recently met this brother. We're talking about the story in
The 2-year-old in Mississippi. Yes, sir.
exactly when a 2-year-old boy was left outside of a Goodwill drop-off center.
Goodwill.
Left outside with a
With a
note,
note.
something to snack on, and basically that was it. We threw it, you on your own, go. Now, the young lady, I think her name is Annette Smith,
Yes,
claims
sir.
to be the mother. You saw the video.
Yes, sir.
She said, I would never give my child away. I would never do something like that. Well, I would like to interview her because I want to tell her she's lying.
Right. She did.
I don't care if you've been knowing this brother for 20 years. You didn't know the young lady because he introduced her as his sister, and you put your child in her care, and you left to go with him. You have to be responsible for that. I wouldn't dare do something like that to I would never abandon my child. You fucking did it. You did it. That's what you did. You don't know this woman.
And then didn't even do it right. Because see, that's another thing that we have to educate the people on. The reason why this story is made it to our attention, because this happens more than a lot of people even know. I've actually personally been called to the areas where the babies were out there, and nobody knew who they were, who they belonged to. And the people called me, you know what I'm saying, and I'm a stranger too to the child, you know what I'm saying, but it didn't make the news. When I called the news, say, hey man, can y'all get somebody out here, post this baby face, and we can find out who their family member is? Oh no, it's not that popular. What happens is because the way we do it is the proper way. And when they get something that's done improperly, where they know that it's going to be a circus behind it later on, charges and all that, that's why it becomes so big. See, around the time of Christmas, everybody is feeling, their hearts are emotional. So here it is, Goodwill. The baby is dropped off at Goodwill. So that makes you feel like you're discharging this child like you would discharge some old clothes after you finish with them, because that's the location that we know Goodwill is for. It's a donation center. There are laws in that city, in that state, called safe haven laws. And the first part of the safe haven law is 30 days. You have up to 30 days, and you can give the babies away if you don't want them, but it has to be at a firehouse. It has to be directly to a police station or police officer, or at a hospital. That's 30 days you have. After the 30 days, there's still another part of the safe haven law that allows parents, if you just tired of your child, you can't, continue the responsibility that you had when you made them. If you do not want to do that, then they give them a safe haven law where you're to take the child to DFAC. And DFAC is the Child Protective Services of that state. And you take the child there, that way the child can be assessed, given another place, because I know how bad the story is, but no matter what, it's a lot of these parents that's out here that's like that. And they're going to give their babies away because they don't want to do what they were supposed to do. A lot of them, we talk about it all the time. They choose their spouses over their kids and stuff. We went through it when we were younger. We saw a lot of our friends going through it, and it continues to go on. Why? Because the human anatomy continues to not be educated properly as to when you have a child, you have to take care of that child forever. There are no breaks. You can't give them away. And a lot of people, they jump into these things just on some sexual fun, and they're not thinking about it all the way. And so the child has to suffer. Because even if you give the child away the right way, the legal way, or the illegal way, which is going to, if it's illegal, they're going to make a big circus. Even if you give it away legal or illegal, you still causing that child or person that's going to have abandonment issues added on to what we already have in this country. You're setting us up for failure, So
for those of you who may not
be familiar,
no, you're good, brother. You're good. For those of you who may not be familiar with the case we're talking about, it happened last Monday when a man wearing black jogging pants and a black cowboy hat dropped off a 2-year-old boy outside of a Goodwill drop-off center. The little boy was too young to give his name. He was too young to give his parents' name. He came with a handwritten note. That's what he came with, a handwritten note, some clothes, and a little food in a bag. A Goodwill employee says a man walked up to me and said the child's mother would no longer care for him, so I'm dropping him off here. We later would learn that the child's name is Sergio. His mother, allegedly Antoinette Smith, she alleges she left the baby with the sister. They went out of town. When they got there, he wanted her to prostitute. He wanted her to bust it wide open, drop it like it's hot. And she refused to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going. So, long story short, well, we're going to take your son. Take your son, kidnap your son. Speak with an aunt, give us such and such amount, and we'll release the child to you. Now, I know earlier today, CPS, I think, still had the child in their care. Now, I'm not trying to be extremely hard on the mother, but I don't think the mother should get the child back no time soon.
Of course.
If you did that, I wonder what else you done to this child. What else have you left that child? Now, it's not to put the mother down, but she needs to hear it. You have to bite the bullet on this one too, because your child could be dead right now because of your split-second decision. What did he tell you y'all was going out of town to do? What did he tell you? Did he really want her to prostitute? Did he tell her that? Did he tell her to sell it? We don't know. We don't know. We do know two people. Earlier today, FBI made contact with them.
Yeah.
And they were arrested. They were seen on surveillance video stopping and they get gas. And a brother gets out of the car, grabs the child by the hand, takes the child over there to Goodwill. Goodwill and customers responded extremely fast, and to glory be to God for that. That's all that we were seeing the other day. This little boy that couldn't tell you anything. So the mother, I'm not saying she's unfit, but I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that is child neglect. That is child abandonment.
I know how you feel, brother, but I'm going to say some shit that a lot of people don't want to hear and don't like. Yes, is unfit. I don't give a fuck if she purposefully did it because she didn't want her baby no more and gave him away, or if she was being forced by somebody to live a different type of life and they didn't want the child around. Regardless, both scenarios, it's not a fit situation for a child to be in. If you're around this dude and they don't love your child, that whole situation is unfit. It's unfit for the child. See, a lot of people want the situations to work for them. They feel like, oh man, life ain't going good for me. So it's hard on me. So I can't deal with, taking care of this child. But this child has their own life. What about what they're going through? And that's the responsibility that a lot of people don't want to face, is that the moment you graduate, get off the porch, however you want to use, whatever euphemism you want to use for becoming an adult, and sticking your dick into some pussy, or you let him stick his dick into your pussy. Once you do that, you are graduated. You're no longer children. And you need to understand something that you already know. Sex makes children. That is a procreation act. We have turned it into some fun, but it is an act solely for making children. So if you can do the act that makes the children, you're supposed to take care of the child. If you can't do that, you don't need to do the act. But society has given us all these kind of ways to get away from the responsibility that goes with it. We want the fun out of the act, but we don't want the responsibility. So we got condoms, what I call paper bag on top of it. So they put the cup over it and hope, okay, I hope I don't make a baby. Because we all recognize that sex for humans makes babies. So in these situations, if you are already doing that, you have to know that you're going to be held responsible by this world for what you do. You go and make these kids, and then you're giving them up as soon as you making them. Then a person is going to ask, like, do you want the children? And you're making them and they're taking away from you, or do you not want the children? Are you going to be a breeder or something? Because people want the financial benefit from the child when it's a benefit, and they want the extra, the child support, the extra money and the praise that comes along with you taking care of your kid. You're such a good person. But when it don't go like that, when you're not going to get all of that, are you still going to love the child? And a lot of people show us they're not going to do it.
Exactly.
And our children have to suffer, man.
Exactly. So, I don't care how long.
It's all unfit, man. Don't do that to these babies,
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care how long her and the guy had been knowing each other. I don't care. I don't care if he took her there and said, this is my mother. She's going to take care of the child. No, your mother's not. I don't know your mother. I don't know your sister. I don't even know this woman. So, but I don't care if you're sexing him or whatever. I don't care. You are responsible for your child. You got to start arresting these trifling insignificant monsters in human forms because they're not mothers. It's just as simple as that. She abandoned her child. I'm not going to go easy on her. That boy could be dead right now because of her damn shenanigans.
And if they hadn't brought it to the TV and we didn't know about it, what would she be doing right now? Would she be mad about it? Would she be complaining, saying, see, too many times when you get in trouble, now they bring up this, oh, it was the dude's fault. Oh, he coerced me. He was making me do this. He was making me, and oh, Lord, I'm just these old weak. Oh, it's just so weak women. That's bullshit. Our women are strong. And they need to stop allowing that to be the narrative, to make that an scapegoat. Because when you do that, you take away from those that are really going through it. And then you also educate some that are just about to get off the porch to what they're going to do when they get in the situation. Exactly. Always blame it on somebody else. You made these children. You carried them for 9 months. That is an honor. That is a blessing. I promise. There are some men out there that love their children enough that if the genetics allowed it, they would carry theirs. But man can't do that. We can only give the fertilizer. You as the woman are given a blessing and honor. You are able to mold, shape the creation that is going to be us in you. So stop running around screaming like women are the only ones to love children just because of that. That's not the truth. So the way you demonstrate your love with these kids is how you handle them once they come out of the womb, because you gotta carry them in your stomach. What are y'all doing once these babies are out? Are you loving them like you're supposed to, like you have no choice? Or are you loving them by the world's definition where you have a choice and you do it how you want to do it?
And it may, in her defense, be a stupid error. It may be, but this is something that you should not get a pat on the back. You shouldn't. I mean, we're talking about a child. We're talking about a 2-year. We're talking about your child, not mine. Your child. And I didn't hear the whole interview there, but the part that I heard, she focused a lot of her attention on what the so-called would-be pimp wanted her to do.
He wanted, right.
And not enough emphasis on, I was so worried about the child. I'm a child. But I ain't gonna do this. I ain't gonna do nothing. So again, you're trying to minimize your wrong in this and keep focusing the attention on the brother. And look, we don't know if it really happened that way. I'm sure the cops know more than you and I know, but we don't know if she's telling the truth. But whether she's telling the truth or not, my opinion, Brother Emmanuel, she must also be punished for that action. That's her child. That's her responsibility. That's her responsibility. What if they'd have killed the child?
Oh yeah, she'd be legally held responsible without question. They're not gonna allow you to say later on, oh, somebody forced me to do this. You know, hey man, if somebody's forcing you, you protect that baby with your own life. You know, we should be here for a situation where this mother stabbed this pimp to death, protecting her and her baby because he was trying to force her into a life that she didn't want. You know, but then we've had that narrative given to us many times before, and it's sad is we found out sometimes those narratives aren't true. I'm not gonna come down on her. I'm not gonna come down on him. I'm gonna come down on the action that took place. A little baby was not given the love it was supposed to be given by its creators. That's a problem in itself.
Every year,
he was given away, put in harm's way. And whoever was responsible for them, the way that they did it, since they didn't do it the right way, you got to be held responsible, man. I don't care if it was my own. I don't care if it was somebody I know. You know, they tell you, take the babies to DFAC or whatever it is the child welfare system is in your city. When you don't want them, don't kill them, don't throw them out the house, don't put them out. We got situations where the older kids are still under 18, but they want to run away. And so a lot of these parents are in a situation where they feel like, well, if the kid run away, if the laws catch them, they're going to give them these truancy tickets, these curfew tickets, and we got to pay them. Well, some of the parents are feeling like, well, shit, I'm going to just go and give them away to the system if they don't want to act right. See, they know
Right.
System knows that's going to be the biggest problem we have in our community, how to handle our children.
Every year in the United States, we have well over 7,000 kids abandoned every year or more. Now, just think, Brother Emmanuel, if he didn't get the money, if he's that diabolical, if he's that crazy, that means he's not of sound mind. He could have killed the child, threw the child in the lake, slit the child's throat, could have done anything, but you got to remember, he didn't have him. You gave that to his sister, which you now know is his woman. So what he took you there for, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I mean, it had to be something you did or something he saw in you that said, you're going to do this here. So I don't know what happened, but you didn't do it. I don't care if you did it or not. But the mother has to play a role when it comes down to the punishment being handed down within this case.
Hey, I'm gonna be real. I've been around a lot of pimps. I've seen them. I've got a lot of years under there. I'm gonna tell you something. I've never known pimps to get rid of their hoes babies that way. Most pimps want to keep their hoes babies because they get assistance, extra money from the states. They get daycare. You know, I've seen a lot of times where a lot of these women that are quote unquote hoes out there running the track for their pimp, their kids are put up somewhere, provided for nice. I mean, it is crazy, man. I've seen some of my homeboys' mamas who was pimps and their Christmases was out the damn chain, out of control. You like, man, what? Because, and so I'm saying this to say this, that shit don't sound right that she was being forced into a life of prostitution. And so he told her to go get her baby up. That man went and gave that baby up looking like this mama told me to do that. Exactly. She just didn't want to deal with it. Not because somebody's forcing her to do something that anybody else wouldn't even be trying to give it. It's just the shit don't add up to me, man.
Yeah, same thing.
And that's all I'm looking at, man. I don't believe in her story.
Yeah, it's something shaded there somewhere. But here's something to think about before we leave, y'all. Why you didn't take the child to somebody on your side of the family?
Your family member, yeah. Why she it don't sound right, man. It sounds like she was just trying to get rid of the whole responsibility herself. She took it to Goodwill, thinking that was a good place. Had she took it to DFAC or to one of the police stations or something, and it would have been legal, we wouldn't even be talking about it right now. She wouldn't even be talking about it right now. So the baby would be legally gone.
What if when he left him there, a pedophile just happened to be there and snatched him up? Now you're going to sit there and now you're going to cry. I want justice served. We're going to serve justice this time. Your ass going to jail. Listen,
I'm even putting them in that damn system too. I got to say that. But y'all that want, and you're taking our information and you want to go turn your babies over, you're wrong. You're evil too, because I promise you, there are a lot of evils that go on in these DFACs and these child protective services programs that when you don't want your kid, they're going to put your kid in foster care. A lot of these foster families are just as evil. You would go through more evil shit by you getting rid of me than what I would go through with us going through it hard with you keeping me. What I'm basically saying is this. Stop letting that be the solutions. Babies, when y'all are out there and y'all have hard times with these babies, stop letting the solution be to hurt them, kill them, or give them away. Things will get better. It is not that hard, man. You got family members, use them. You got friends, communities. Y'all need to bind together, man, so that people don't feel like they get put in these situations. Now, if she was, you know, only God gonna know, because none of us were inside of her to know what her real personal reasons were for allowing her child to leave her side. Did we know she did?
If he allegedly took her somewhere to go be a prostitute, why would he turn around and hold the baby hostage? Because evidently she didn't have a damn dime to begin with. So you won't get nothing for this. Listen, Bishop Lord, we're going to bring Brother Emmanuel back home tomorrow night, or whenever time permits, to finish this here. As always, we thank you all for tuning in tonight's broadcast. If you can, Help support the show by dropping some money into the Cash App or the PayPal link there. You know we don't charge nobody for nothing, but we must pay bills, and we try to tell you the truth because we know the other's going to tell you what they want you to hear, and that's a lot of sugar-coated shit cookies. Brother Emmanuel, I'm going to give you the last word before we get out of here, man.
Hey, I just want to tell everybody I thank you for everything that y'all do for Injustice Investigations, man. This brother, he puts it out there, man, and y'all need to go and support this brother. Like he said, man, to his Cash App. I would hope anybody would look up mine's. It's the PAC, hashtag Help Houston Hero, Justice for King Blake. You just look up my son named Blake Thomas, my name Emmanuel Thomas. I'm the brother to those that consider me your brother. And you can see my story and see that the things that we do, you know, directly affect you. And you'll always know that we'll lend a hand, man. We have a group called Camp Texas. That's CAAMP Texas. And we're growing it for each state so that y'all can have a different camp for each state. And what that is children abused, abducted, missing persons, man. And we help locate those type of situations, man, where our kids can get some real help. But as I say, we can only do it in the places we are. But if we all work together, we'll have a very, very close-knit community where we can really help each other. And we can save these babies before we have to talk about, you know, their deaths and stuff. And, you know, I mean, I can go all day, man. It's like I can't stop, brother. But I just want to tell everybody that is like-minded, man, that we need y'all help, man. We can only build these platforms and these stages as much as we are allowed to. But, you know, if everybody collectively contribute, man, the tools and fuels, man, it makes something, man. Because I promise you this, don't live your whole life accumulating something that when you die, you can't take it with you, and it does nothing for you, the person that died. Instead, control that demon, that beast that tries to control us, and use it the way it's supposed to be used to edify and build yourselves up, man. Because this brother does, it reaches all over this world. Anybody that has a computer can get edified by this. So when you help him, you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding many people all over the world that's going to need that edification that comes from him telling the truth and bringing those on that do that. And I myself am one of the true terrorists like this brother. So, you know, we're going to always stand strong together and bring it to y'all, man. I'm always available. Y'all have to look me up, man. You know, I don't run out of time. I don't sleep. So, you know, at any time, you know, I'm open for anybody that needs some help with some of the things that you can't get assistance on in your city. And we'll use what we have, you know, to make sure that happens for you as best as possible. But I don't grow grass and I don't make clouds. You know what I'm saying? Those are things in this example of what I'm saying. Those are things that are out of my control. The only thing I control is myself and my being. And what I give to you all is myself. And you'll look in me and you'll see it through my actions and, you know, through your eyes, if it is truth enough for you to stand with me. But I hope, you know, that those out there will stand, you know, for what's righteous in this world, man. And that's for loving yourself.
Comment before we get out of here. I think her name is Christine Matters. She says she's raggedy. I can only guess who she's talking about. As always, we appreciate you all tuning in tonight's live broadcast. Brother Emmanuel, you and I will speak sometime in the morning. Yes, I'm sure, as always, remember this here. I am not always right, and you are not always wrong. We'll see you all tomorrow night. Thank you. Peace out, brother. I love you. Appreciate you. You're wonderful, brother.